All right, guys, we are at Haji Lane in Singapore. In my hands is the all-new Oppo Reno10 Pro Plus. I've been testing this for the past couple weeks. We are now releasing it in Singapore as of this date, July 12th. It was released other places on May 24th, but nonetheless, we're a little bit late, but we still got the phone in our hands here. We're gonna talk about it, how it compares to other phones out there, the picture quality, the image quality, the video quality. So let's get down to it. Now, talking about this phone real quick, this is not a flagship device, so we're not going to treat it as such. This is a upper tier mid-range phone. Does that make sense? It will. What I mean by that, it's a Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 phone. It's not the Gen 2, so there's a little bit of difference on this. The cameras, of course, are good, but they're not as good as the Find X6 Pro that comes out from Oppo as well, with the Hasselblad technology, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But let's go through some of the specs real quick on this. Storage, we've got 256 gigabytes of onboard storage. We've got 12 gigabytes plus 4 gigabytes of RAM, so you can say 16 gigabytes of RAM, but it's got 12 plus 4 for whatever reason. The processor, as I mentioned, is the 8 Plus Gen 1 Snapdragon processor. We've got cameras. We got a 32 megapixel for the front-facing camera, 58 and 64 megapixels for the rear cameras as well. Screen size is 6.74 inches, and yeah, 4,700 milliamp battery. So we're pretty much good to go. This is a very well-spec'd phone. This would have been a flagship last year, but every year it changes. So how does this phone handle today's requirements from our content creators, from the photographers out there? Kind of the same as last year. So a little bit of a peek into the review. Anyway, let's go take a photo of this beautiful mosque right here. We're gonna go to Pro mode. We're gonna maximize the resolution. And here we go. Boom. Wow, it's a loud shutter. It's very, very loud. I feel like I'm using a film camera. Maybe that's the idea, to go analog, but with a phone. Because, you know, the younger generation likes film because they discovered it. Where us older people were like, yeah, that's what we shot most of our lives. It is what it is. It's all full circle. That's sexy. Yeah, yeah. Promo, baby. Talking about the camera quality real quick, the portrait mode on the Oppo phones is fantastic. The way that it separates your subject from the background is very realistic. The colors out of this are really good as well. Now, there's no Hasselblad branding on this phone like there is on other Oppo phones, but they could be using some of that technology nonetheless, or some of that color science. But I mean, the colors are neutral, looks really good. A lot of sharpness, a lot of detail. Just because this is not a flagship phone per se doesn't mean that the image quality isn't there. These are flagship specs and flagship images coming out of this. Very, very impressive. Great dynamic range. I've got no complaints with it whatsoever, and that's out of the rear cameras. Now we're gonna do some front-facing shots with the front, you know, the selfie camera, 32 megapixels. Let's see how much detail it grabs on my face. Of course, we can touch up and all that great stuff in there, and we'll try some video as well. So let's get down to it. All right, I'm going portrait mode, selfie. Going 1 times, you can go 0.8 times. You know, because if you're with a group of people, you want that 0.8 times. Here's 0.8, portrait mode, boom, 1 time. Take a look at the image here. Wow, the skin retouching on this is legit. You still see the pores, but it removes the blemishes. Actually, this is pretty good. I'm gonna take a photo just real quick without any ports so you can see the difference. Oof. Beautify me, beautify me. Man, it's age. What are you gonna do? Now we're gonna try video on the front-facing camera. Here's the downside, right? And I don't get why a lot of these Android phone makers don't do this. Why isn't there 4K in this? You got a Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 processor in this. It could handle 4K on the front-facing camera. Why don't we have this? Only 1080. So I'm talking with a 1080 camera. I feel like I'm in 2012, 2015. We gotta be Oppo, we gotta get up to this pace here. 4K should be the de facto on all your front-facing cameras going forward. I mean, the only ones that I know that do it so far are Samsung and Google. I think that's it. Even Xiaomi doesn't do it yet, even with their, you know, 13 Ultra. No. And the Oppo with the Reno10 Pro Plus, it's only 1080 on the front-facing camera. It's quite sad. But anyway, here's the audio quality so you get a sense of what I sound like using the front-facing camera as well. In case you want to do some TikToks or some Instagram Reels, you know how it sounds. Let's flip to the rear cameras and let's see how they go for video. So now I'm testing out the rear cameras in 4K 30 on the Reno 10 Pro Plus. Obviously, there'll be a little bit of stabilization here. How does the video quality look? How does the sound of these microphones sound? Does it sound natural? Does it sound synthetic or digital? Let me know. I'm taking a step down. Did you see that step, or was it so smooth you thought I was walking on carpet? Let me know in the comment section below. So this is the video quality, 4K 30, out of the Reno10 Pro Plus. So as I'm looking through my images here in my video, I noticed that it looks a little bit more saturated than I like. Now, case in point, a little bit of a tip in case you do not know this, most phone screens out of the box come set very highly saturated or vivid, especially on Android phones. Oppo has a lot of settings inside of this, so you can adjust that. Go to your screen color mode under your display and brightness, click on it, it's set to vivid out of the box. We don't want vivid, that's not natural. It looks good, sometimes when you're posting it online, if you're editing, it can really screw up your edits. Go to Pro mode, go to cinematic, P3 color gamut, and now, when you get into your photos, everything looks a lot better than what it did. We paid for her to be in the shot. The last minute of the shot, she walked right through it. Zachy, keep it. And we got a tour guide here, they're gonna talk as well. We pay for these people, folks. This is a very expensive video shoot that we do here for Geek Culture. We spend a lot of money for these people. All right, that's it.
If you're looking for a laptop that has both power and portability, look no further than the ASUS ZenBook 14X OLED. It features a large 70 Wh battery and stunning Nano Edge 14.5-inch 2.8K 120Hz OLED display. Powered by the latest 13th Gen Intel Core i9 CPU and RTX 3050 GPU, all packed in a thin 16.9mm chassis that only weighs 1.5 kilograms, so you can stay focused at work or play. For more information, check out asus.com.
Let's talk about the design and the display on this device. Now, the display is quite beautiful. It is not a 4K display, but it has good enough resolution. It's 1240 by 2772, so that's going to give you about 451 ppi for you pixel peepers out there. It's an OLED display, HDR10+, 1 billion colors, 1400 nits of brightness. It's a very good display. As a matter of fact, it's right up there with a lot of other pseudo flagship phones out there on the market. No issues at all with that. Now, it does have that curvature display. I'm not a big fan of this. I wish all displays were flat now. I feel that design language has been been there and it's gone now, and it does make using the phone a little bit finicky on the edges, especially if you're editing photos, but it is comfortable to use in the hands. Now, it is made out of metal for the most part. It has a kind of a brushed sheen look on the back of it, but it is a bit smooth to touch. And you've got this this shiny bezel around it, which we've seen on other phones. But the camera bump, for a lot of people out there, might be thinking, is it so big? Do I want to use this? Is it going to rock on a table? Yeah, but you can get a case with it. It comes with a case inside the box because that's what Oppo does. But I mean, the camera module looks really good, very sleek. The design language on this phone is really nice. It looks ultra premium. I mean, Oppo's done a great job on their phones for the past number of years, and this is just a continuity of that. And you can see powered by Mari silicone on the bottom of it with your periscope zoom lens with that as well. Camera cutout circle on the display right there. Doesn't get in the way. It's nice. I like it. That's the design of the phone. And take a look at this real quick. This is how good the portrait mode is on this phone. And that looks just absolutely natural, the fall off. This looks like it was taken with a professional camera. That is very natural at 1.4. And then of course, you want to go into the editing. We've got all the adjusts we want. We got some filters. We got fresh, clear, warm. You know, you can adjust these if you want. We got text, pixel, retouch, eraser, all that stuff. I mean, this is a really, not bad. Straight out of camera, man, it's getting really good with these phones nowadays. That's legit. All right, so in terms of battery life, how's this perform on a daily basis? It's good, but again, depends on your usage. Now, of course, you can adjust the frame rates on this display. Higher frame rates is gonna take more battery. 4,700 milliamp battery, which is decent. It's gonna get you through the day, no issues at all. Again, this is a very thin, very small phone. So if you're gonna be doing a lot of video, a lot of photography, then you can do a quick charge on this, and there's quick charging to this. All Oppo phones have it. And I think it says 100 watts or whatever the case may be. It's very, very fast. So that's not really much of an issue. So battery life to me is good. But overall, just using the phone daily, I mean, it's a nice phone to use. And when I talked earlier on this video, and I talked about flagship versus kind of a mid-tier, upper range phone, it works well. And most people on the day-to-day usage are not gonna notice the difference between this and let's say a fine X6 Pro in terms of navigating the menus, opening up apps, and doing certain things. Now, you're not gonna get that Hasselblad collaboration inside of this. Does that make a big difference to some people? No, it doesn't. To others who are photography nuts like myself, I like that collaboration. I like that Hasselblad color science. I see a little bit of it here, but it's not exactly the same. But for the average person out there, you want a good, solid Android phone, I would say this is one to heavily consider. And if you're comparing it to other Android phones out there in this price point, I would say maybe the Xiaomi 13 Pro would be the closest to it. And those would be quite neck and neck. Anyway, if you want to see that battle, the 13 Pro versus the Reno10 Pro Plus, let us know in the comment section below. If we get enough comments to say, yes, we want to see that battle, we'll make that video happen. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, subscribe to the channel and check out more of our phone videos right here.